Alive, 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 oh. Good day from the Italian Alps. Good day, good day. Today, live, we'll be talking about building powerful relationships and keeping them strong. How do we go about that? Well, building strong relationships through everything is really, really good. Matt, how are you
Ian,
doing,
hey
man?
man. Great to see you.
You too? How are you today?
Thanks for having me. Good. Everything is good. It's not the Italian Alps, but it's nice.
Excellent. Where are you, Matt?
Well, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah,
Beautiful. How's the weather?
it's nice. It's good today. We had winter. It's over. The 3 weeks of winter's over in January, so we're
Wow.
good now.
Three
Yeah,
weeks?
we're that's about right. So now it's a little cooler today, but probably 65. A little overcast, but it looks like 70 the next handful of days and sunny.
Excellent, man. That's brilliant.
Yeah, really nice.
Charleston's a very cool city, huh?
It's a really cool city. Yeah, it's a really charming city, really good food, um, manageable. Yeah, it's a good city.
Right. So are you pretty close to the city center?
I'm about a 20-minute drive, probably
Okay,
20
yeah.
minutes, and that's mostly because there's water everywhere. So to get there from where I live, it's a big giant loop.
Okay.
But but yeah, it's geographically it's really close. Regardless, it's close. 20 minutes to the ocean, 20 minutes to the downtown. It's a great spot.
And there's a lot of history as well, yeah?
A lot of history, a lot of American history here. Yeah. I grew up in Boston, which is another American history rich area, but it's the other side of American history. So it's been pretty fun to hear and learn this side of
Yeah, yeah,
the southern
yeah.
side of American history.
You don't have a preference, or is it obvious that you do?
Well, um, I, it's hard to beat the weather.
Yeah,
I'm done. I was tired of the snow. It's hard to
yeah,
beat it down here, and the people are amazing, and it's been a fun change. I grew up in the New England area,
yeah.
so it's been a
Different people,
welcomed
very
change.
different people. I live in Nantucket. I mean, it's the New Englanders are they're definitely unique.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah, I mean, it always amazes me, Matt, like the amount of history in such a short time in this country. Squeeze
Yeah,
so much history into just a couple of hundred years, man. It's incredible, and it's not just in the places like Charleston or Boston. When you go out to places like Mammoth Mountain in California, and you're staying in the Mammoth Mountain Inn right on the mountain. Like,
that's
you're
cool.
staying in places where, you know, Clark Gable and Marilyn Monroe have been. And that's like, it's just mind blowing, that kind of history, and it's only 80 years old, kind of thing.
hmm hmm Yeah, well, where you are, history goes back thousands of years.
Yeah, I was last weekend. Every January the 30th and 31st since the year 1025, there's been a festival, arts and crafts and woodwork festival in the town of Aosta here. 1,000 years, 1,000 years old, man.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you, like, they created relationships that have lasted like a millennia. You know,
hmm
and they're maintaining a tradition through
Yep.
all these relationships. I mean, I don't know how many vendors were down there, but there was stall after stall of like incredible arts and woodworking and all sorts of stuff. Very unique to the area, and very unique to that, I suppose, festival.
That's cool.
So, like, how do we start building those kind of relationships?
Mm.
You know,
Pretty-
that last millennia.
hmm. That's remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah, like, and I think, I suppose, with a festival like that, it's just everyone has a shared vision, you know, to show the best of this valley. I'm sure they're coming from all over, you know, we're not, I'm looking out the window here, I can see Switzerland across the valley, and you know, right up the other way, France is over there, you know, so
Wow.
um there's history everywhere, but it's just the incredible relationships that everyone builds, you know,
Right.
and relationships that last, you know.
Yep.
In
Yep.
in
Yep. And
your
that's
work,
that's what you do.
in you,
I know. I like.
your
I
in your
like.
work is, yeah, you build
Well, I like the work
powerful,
you're doing
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
that helps people with their relationships. So yeah, I'm happy to come on this today.
yeah. So, like, when you're working in your business, what's like what are the most important characteristics when you're building relationships?
Well, I think it's gonna it's I think this will maybe be a little bit of a sideways answer, but a lot of the work I do with people has to do with a different relationship. It has to do with the relationship with finances. So I'm a financial advisor. I have
Yeah,
my own investment firm. And after thousands of convos with people about their money, I've learned that all of us in somewhere on the spectrum land on some level of unhealthy relationship with money. And
yeah,
typically it's stuff we've adopted from our parents. It's just from childhood that if we don't choose to break those chains, to really work through that relationship that we've learned from our parents and they've learned from their parents, because nobody talks about it. And if you don't talk about it, you really can't unearth anything. So if we don't choose to go to be the ones in our family tree to go and work through some of those relationship challenges with as it relates to money,
yeah.
we're just going to pass that on to our kids and we're going to perpetuate that problem. So a lot of the work I do is unearthing, hey, one question I love to start with people is give me a story from your childhood that really exemplifies how you feel about money. And
Right, right.
how does that story dictate the way you behave even today as it relates to money? And it really stops people in their tracks because they've never really thought about it, but some pretty cool conversations come from stuff like that.
You're right. I mean, it's amazing how many limiting beliefs or limiting decisions that we carry for years and years that are just normal for us, you know.
Hmm.
And we don't think about them because it's just the way things are. It's just normal.
Yeah, and society has taught us that money's a taboo
Yeah,
subject, so we can't talk about it according to society. So if you can't talk about it, then you're supposed to somehow learn in your own vacuum. You're supposed to be in your own little bubble, learning
yeah.
everything and working through everything without being allowed to speak to people about how they do it, or how they use it, how it works in their world.
Uh, when you get people to stop and think about it with those that kind of a question, what is what is the breakthrough for them? You know, what is their
Mm.
takeaway from it?
Well, typically with at first prompt, it's just understanding that they even have a relationship with
Yeah,
money, because people don't think about finances in terms of relationship. Some people will talk about food in terms of relationship. Like I have an unhealthy relationship with food. I emotionally eat, for example, let's say,
yeah,
but it's rare for people to speak that way about money. So sometimes the first breakthrough is just identifying that, hey, maybe there's something there that I do need to work on that I never knew existed. That's usually breakthrough number one. Breakthrough number two is doing the hard work, the deep dive internally to say, well, do I why do I get nervous when I open my bank account?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
why
yeah.
do I go and buy things when I'm stressed out? Why is that my knee-jerk response? Like, where's that coming from?
Yeah, and like most of us wouldn't have a really clear investment strategy either, no?
Yeah, but that to me that comes farther down the
Right.
path. But not so far down that it's not worth talking about. It to me is the piece of a bigger puzzle that really is about understanding how the game of money works. Because what I've learned is in that relationship with finances, a lot of the fear is from unknown. So a lot of the unhealthy relationship people have with money comes from the complete unknown because you can't talk about it. It's not taught in schools, and somehow you become a young adult and start working, and you're supposed to know how it all works, how the investments work, how your taxes work, how everything, how you're supposed to pay your bills. All this stuff is just assumed on us.
Yeah,
Uh, I
yeah,
compare it to this a lot of times. I compare it to when you're an incoming freshman in high school,
yeah,
right? That last week or two of summer, you start to get really nervous about your freshman year because it's typically a new building, new teachers, kids from multiple schools will all be
yeah,
combining into one potentially. You're going to get a new schedule, you're going to maybe get lost. There's stories
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
about a upperclassmen that are going to make fun of you
yeah,
or give you the wrong direction, all that stuff. But what I learned and what I've found, like talking with enough people, is that really after that first week of freshman year, 80% of those fears are gone because you know your homeroom, you know your classmates, you know your teachers, you understand your schedule,
yeah.
you know how to get to different classes. Like all of the unknowns have been answered for you.
Right.
And now a lot of your fear dissipates. The same is true with money. So an investment strategy,
Yeah,
what a budget looks like, understanding how to use your money effectively instead of reactively, emotionally spending, or it. Those are all pieces of understanding the bigger picture. Is like, I don't know about this, so I need to learn about this. And once you get educated, 80% of that fear goes away.
like it's amazing, really, that relationships are key. Our relationships are like key in every aspect of life:
Yeah,
spiritual, financial,
yeah,
physical,
you got it.
emotional. Like the relationship we have with ourselves really is where it all starts, isn't it?
Yeah, you got it. And all of those things you said, relation, spiritual, emotional, physical, financial, all those health buckets to me fall underneath this personal health umbrella that we as humans, because I believe we're wired to want to serve and help others first, we will always put all of those things on a back burner
Yeah,
until
yeah,
somebody comes
yeah,
into our life and prompts us to say, hey, this is important. And it's a lot of the work you do. It's a lot of the work on self-care, understanding self-care is not selfish. Knowing who you are and how you're wired and why you behave the way you behave can A, help you understand and explain to people better who you are, but also B, get you to change those things that you now realize are problems that are you are the problem and you need to make the change. So self-care actually is a necessity, I believe, for us to growing into who we're created to be.
yeah. The like you hit it there. We don't. We're not honest with ourselves. We put everything on the back burner. I'll deal with that later. That problem. Ooh,
Mm,
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to look after it as a football game on or whatever. Um,
yeah.
and and the last thing we tend to think about is our own peace of mind. I was talking to a client this morning, and I said, like, right now, as a 57-year-old man just divorced, what is it that you really want right now? What is the most important thing to you right now? And he was, well, I want to be financially secure. I said, no, man, what is it that you really cannot live with right now?
Mm.
And he just kind of, he kind of took a step back and he was like, whoa. And he basically just like, yeah, just peace, peace of mind.
Yeah, that's I've found that when I talk to people specifically about money, but money always is like the engine that stems into bigger wants and bigger desires. It really revolves around, which is very similar to peace. It's freedom. People talk about freedom, but it's not just I want enough money in my bank account to be able to not worry. They want freedom of time, freedom of relationships to be able to pour into people they want to without feeling constraints.
Absolutely. And it's a reluctance to deal with or to create a healthy relationship with money, finances, whatever you want to call it. It's like you're harming your own relationship with yourself. You're you're avoiding yourself. You're
Mm.
avoiding peace of mind. You know, like if you can't deal with making money, and like a lot of people are afraid to make more money because they're afraid it'll change them.
Mm.
But it's like why have that fear when actually you could be helping more people? You know, it's
But to me,
yeah,
yeah, I love what you're saying. To me, if somebody has that, which, having those conversations, having had those conversations with people, if they're afraid to make more money because they're worried it will change them, I've learned that me telling them you have an opportunity if you make more money to do more good,
yeah,
it
yeah,
gets lost on them if they haven't stopped themselves to say, why is it that I feel like money's going to change me? Like, where's that coming
yeah,
from? And they often have to revert to childhood to figure out where did they learn that money is going to change them to make them bad, and they have to
yeah.
sort of unearth that, figure that out, unlock that, to say that that's a lie I've been telling myself for a whole lot of time, right? The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. It's often misquoted as money is the root of all
Yeah,
evil, and that might be where it's coming from, but they have to figure out where they learned it,
yeah.
why they believe it, and why they tell themselves that. Because then once they unearth that and change that about themselves, then they can start to actually see clearly of, oh wow, I do see how I can be a positive light in this world if I am earning more income.
Exactly. And like it all comes down again to probably a lack of belief or a lack of trust in yourself, that you're not smart enough. You know,
Mm,
you like there's plenty of geniuses out there. It's easy for them, but like every genius puts in the hours. You know, like they're it doesn't just come easy. You know, it takes effort to be a successful genius. There's plenty of geniuses um, stumbling around bars. You know what I mean? Like
eh,
smart. There's a lot of intelligent people drinking too much um, because they just don't trust themselves. It's like, and it's hard work. You know, it is hard work.
it is hard work.
It's hard work to have to really kind of um, Socrates was it? The unexamined life is hardly worth living. You really have to have you really have to have like a cold look at yourself, you know, from a
Mm,
distance. And you know, it's like in breakups when your ex is like being super honest, you know.
mm.
You got to be almost like that with yourself.
Yeah, it takes a high degree of humility to
Yeah.
be able to admit your faults. And like in that example of an ex breaking up with you and they're being super honest with who you are, maybe there's some emotion and some anger there, but there's probably some truth underlying to some of those accusations, you know?
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, there's probably a lot of maybe character assassination involved as well, but
Mhm.
it's up, you've got to be able to pull I suppose, the black box from the wreckage. You know,
Mm,
there's a lot of, and I find this with guys, and we really do like in breakups, we do try to like accelerate,
mm,
get away from the wreckage as fast as we can. You know. We don't kind of take time to reflect. We want to meet someone else straight away. We want to prove like we have value. You know, we still got it,
mm,
and and we just get away. We just run away and just try and forget it as fast as we can. You know,
mm.
get on
Yep.
with life, do our own thing, whatever it is. But we rarely take the time to reflect on like the lessons. You know, and it's the same with our relationship with money. We just live with that
Yep.
relationship. It's like a life sentence. Um, you know, like how many opportunities, how many financial opportunities has the average person missed just because they didn't trust themselves, you know?
Yeah, potentially, or they didn't know what to look for because they never took the time to
Yeah.
understand it. And I think the cool part about what you're saying is it doesn't have to be a life sentence. People
No,
very well,
no.
they very well can learn enough, especially in this day of information, right? They can learn plenty to have a very strong, healthy financial life. And they also don't need to be economics majors with master's degrees in finance to be able to figure it out. I'm walking proof. Like I was a business major, but I was an entrepreneur concentration. And I've just well, I've dedicated more time than the average person because it's my profession, but I learned through immersion. I immersed myself in the subject.
Yeah,
And people don't necessarily need to dive as deep as I have, but they can go and figure out, hey, how does this work? And then that will start to unlock things and change the trajectory of their future and potentially will change future generations to come just because they took the time to say, I'm going to be the one that's stopping this unhealthy habit in its tracks. So it's not a life sentence for me. It won't be for my kids. It won't be for their kids.
exactly. And it's such a release. I love when guys when when they see that in themselves
Mm,
that they've been living by a life sentence, self-inflicted life sentence, and they realize that they don't have to live with that anymore. It's like that look in their face, man. I love it. It's
that's
it's
great.
it's just yeah, it's fantastic. Um, but again, like you said you said you did the deep dive, and it's like why why like guys or people don't need to do that deep dive because they can just contact you.
Mm, I
You've
don't,
done the work, and you know the questions to ask, you know where to probe, you can make a difference, man.
yeah, but but it is incumbent on the person to do the work. They have to be the one to manage their relationship. I can teach them what I know. I can help them with the
Yeah,
investments. I can do all the things. It's like going to a gym and saying, "Hey, I have a personal trainer. I don't need to learn anything. I'm just gonna follow them my whole life." You can only go so far if you choose
yeah,
not to be the one to take ownership of your future.
yeah. We're like nutcrackers. We just
That's
have
a good way
to
to say it.
break the shell and let them deal with the realization that there is hope.
Yeah.
That that there is a way that they can actually, I suppose, get in the game. You know,
Oh man.
and and it's all down. It all comes back to one thing really, energizing people.
Mm, yeah. It's your job. It's my job, really, to be that catalyst for
Yeah,
change, and
absolutely.
then to be the guide. I've heard it. It's cheesy, but it works. The guide from the side, not the sage from the stage. Right? It's your
Yeah,
job to walk arm
yeah,
in arm with
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
and catalyze their change, but you can't be their
No,
change. Right? People, you can't lift weights for somebody. They need to lift the weights to see the change in their life. You
abs-
can tell them all you know. So, but at
absolutely.
the end of the day, we need to take ownership of our lives and have people like you, like me, in certain areas to guide them along the journey. And that's the role I play.
Exactly. We're just different phases of relationship
Mm, sure,
coaches,
sure.
guides. I like that guide from the side, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's it is it
To have
yeah. I think you can sort of hear you, but I must be.
hallelujah.
Well,
Yeah, look,
oh,
it's,
there you're coming back
can you hear me?
now.
Yeah,
Yep, I got you back now.
perfect, Matt. Look, that was a fantastic chat, man. Thank you for your
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah, I
great that,
appreciate this, man. I love the work you're doing, so keep on going.
yeah, I love the
It's
work you
needed.
I love the work you're doing too, man. It's very important
Thank you.
for us to have a really good relationship with um money, which is really our time. We
You
put in
got it.
time to make money, so it's valuing ourselves enough that we value money accordingly, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep, well said.
Excellent.
Cool. Well,
Well,
thanks for this, Neil.
um, just where do we find you on Instagram at
Yeah.
Matt Morizio?
Yeah, find me here at Matt Morizio, or you can check out the firm. It's called Reconstructing Wealth for that reason, because after those conversations, I've had so many conversations I've had, I recognize that the real change needs to be how people need to reconstruct their relationship with money. So that's where Reconstructing Wealth comes from. That's the origin of the title. Now I get it. People don't necessarily come to me to say I need to change my relationship with money. They need financial planning help. They need investment help. They need to make decisions with their finances. So we do all that. But the real root of the mission is to change the way a generation uses and thinks about money.
Yeah, look, it really is fine tuning. It's not like going back to square one and starting all over again. It's just a bit of fine tuning.
Right. Right.
Adjusting here, and like you say, reconstructing.
Yeah.
Um,
There you go.
Bit of structure, bit of organization.
Mhm.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Excellent,
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt.
Well, thanks for this. It was really good to see you.
You
Thanks for this conversation.
great, Matt. Thanks a lot, man, and
All
good
right.
luck.
All
Good
right.
luck in the future.
Thanks,
Ciao.
man. See ya.